There's a common storytelling trap that I see filmmakers get caught in all the time. Video should be an immersive experience. Even if you nail everything about your story, getting this wrong will completely break the simulation and rip your viewer back into reality, reminding them that this isn't real. In short, the mistake is saying too much, over-communicating. Now, this video is going to be pretty theoretical, so buckle in. In a good video or movie, every single thing you see serves a purpose. It doesn't mean every symbol on the wall has a meaning or that the positioning of characters always reflects the state of the relationship, though it often does. But everything that's included should advance the story. Even the quiet parts of movies where not a lot is happening, that calm is telling us something about the person or story we're watching. Likewise, there is equal storytelling power in what is not included. That's what I want to focus on right now, the art of omission. In real life, you don't know everything that's happening all the time. You're seeing the world from your one perspective. Film should be the same. That perspective doesn't have to be one person's only. It can jump around. It can be from the protagonist's view or a side character's experience. But often, one of the best ways to make the viewer feel like they're in it is by giving them the ability to interpret what's happening in their own way, using their imagination. Imagination requires absence of information. The story needs to have blanks so that the viewer can fill them in. In other words, there must be room for interpretation. Not only does this make the story feel more real, but it gives the viewer a sense of autonomy in consuming the story. It makes them feel intelligent and demands more of their active attention. You're not revealing all the details, you're leading them to figure out certain details on their own. People don't like being told what to think. Even though you are literally telling them the story, using omission allows them to feel like that plot point or that plot twist was their idea. As in all things, this requires balance. If you leave out too much, then your story ends up being exceptionally confusing and you risk alienating a large part of your audience. On the other end of the spectrum, if you don't leave any room for interpretation, there's no intrigue, no sense of wonder, and the story could be pretty boring. So how do we actually apply this to creating short form content? Simply put, the key is to stop overstating. Here are 3 applicable rules. Trust the format. Film is multimedia. You've got motion, you've got the spoken word, you've got music, there's text, color, sound effects, space. All these elements of film have their own voice and they can all say something. But sometimes if they're all speaking at the same time, the message gets lost or destroyed. I'm going to use one of our own ads as an example.
You're committed. So are we. Whatever it costs. We're ready for it.
I, the viewer, definitely know what this video is saying. I get the message, but I get it too much. There's no nuance, there's no room for curiosity in all that information. This version of the ad communicates everything it needs to say, one element at a time and much fewer shots. There's less in it, and every element that is present serves a purpose. This leads us into the second rule: trust your audience. If a shot looks really good or it took a long time to get right, that isn't reason enough to keep it in the video. It has to lead this story in the most effective or efficient direction. This means cutting out a lot of unnecessary in-between moments, letting the audience fill in the blanks between actions A and C. From our previous first example, this shot establishes that we're running. This establishes that we're flying a drone. The music cuts, we see the drone crash, cut to the videographer's reaction. That's the story in 4 seconds or less. We don't need me putting on shoes or more running. We don't need additional shots of Meg filming me or sending up the drone. All these things happened in the story, but they happen off screen. The audience has just enough information to assume the context. Essentially, the audience is smart. Trust them to figure it out. Trust the CTA. Too many call to actions. Ultimately, you're probably trying to sell something. People don't like being sold to. My marketing friends won't like this, but dial down the CTA. Now I want to preface this is dependent on the style of your video. If your video style is a sales letter, people are watching it to learn more about your product. A surplus of call to actions may be appropriate. But if this is a story-focused video, again, the viewer wants to feel like this was their idea and their decision. The whole video is to lead them to that conclusion. And if you come at the end spamming buy now buttons, text info, and voiceovers, it breaks their experience and puts them off. Less is more. Give them one clear CTA, show them the next step, lead them there with your story, and cut out the rest. And that is the art of omission. How to say more with less. What do you think? Let us know down below.